whole. I have also served as a computer teacher and at the teaching all the sports that Walnut Grove has. If you know Walnut Grove, we're a relatively small school, so I was the coaching staff. I have also served on a
Graduated from District 1 schools. And in my varied experience, I worked for the DOD as a inventory specialist, but I also was a courier for the government contractors, and I carried a national security clearance. So my ethics is probably covered there. But in all my experience, the transition from school system to school system was very hard for us. You know, everyone had different standards, they had different qualifications and different ways of success. But we managed to be diplomatic and get through it. And when we came here, we were here during the time when Hazel Green built all three new schools. And all three of the kids graduated from Hazel Green High, the one now. So all that, I'm pretty sure everybody is mutually qualified and everybody's mutually, that's not why I'm here. I have 5 grandchildren. They range from preschool through high school, and one's 1 year old, Atticus. But I'm very involved in their education. I believe as a parent and grandparent that we are our children's lifetime educators. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But I have this saying that I go by now because the future's not mine, it's theirs. And it's a Greek proverb that says, societies grow great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in. Well, my trees are education, and that's for all our children. If we educate our children, they will have a great society. Now, I've dealt with facilities, contracts, mandates, budget costs, inventories, all, auditing through the government and all that. But my grandchildren and your grandchildren and our grandchildren are the future. And I'm here because of their future. I can deal with the details of the politics of the, but I'm here to enhance all our children's educational experience. And that's all.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Dale? Thank you, Ms. Dale.
Thank you.
Matt Bennett?
Good evening. My name is Matt Bennett. I am a parent of a child in Lebanon and Brigham. Lived here for 8 years. I work for a technology company called EMC, a storage and data protection company. I'm one of the field engineers covering the state of Alabama. So I've got a lot of experience with technology. I also support customers from the sales side, so I understand budgets, I understand finance. The reason I applied for this position is I saw the announcement on the news. As the owner of 2 young children, one who is getting ready to be in 3rd grade at Lincoln and one that will be in kindergarten in the next few years, I'm passionate about them. I believe that my wife is a gift from God, so I believe my children are blessed. And I hope that everyone here feels the same way. Everyone on the board, everyone here obviously has a great passion about our children. I'm not an educator, I'm a parent. So the reason I wanted to come participate in the board and give my time was to bring that parental phase. I am very involved with my children because I am a remote employee, so I work from home most of the time, unless I'm meeting with customers. well. Got to know her very well over the last couple of years, and it's a great school up there. And I just think about the time that Kim has taken my home up there, and the passion that those teachers have, and the way they've helped her develop from kindergarten, now getting ready to be a third grader. And I just hope that every child in the Madison school system can get that same type of attention. A good example I had is I was eating dinner with my daughter from just across from me, and they're young, and they're 50 years. And they're not eating, and we had very good meal. I absolutely everything. But I looked at my oldest daughter, and I told her, I said, listen, baby, I think you've got to eat that food. There are children, not right here in Homestead, that will go to bed hungry. And you're so included. And the more I thought about that, as I laid in bed at night, I thought about children that aren't getting the opportunity my children are getting. Not only from the parents, but from the teachers and the staff and the faculty in the schools. There are children who don't get that, and I understand that. And I think about that, and I'm passionate about that. Every child, I think, is given those opportunities to max out their potential. They make it third grade, they turn into fourth grade, they turn into middle school, high school. College attendees and young adults who can contribute to our society. So I'm very passionate about that, and I believe that, you know, if there's something I can do, I want to be a parent to stand on the side and always having ideas about what. If I can participate, if I can be part of the solution, I really like to give it up. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next one. Number 12. There is no number 12 on this list. Number 6. Rich McAdams.
Good evening. It's good to see all of you. When I ended my board service 3.5 years ago, would you have ever thought I would be up here asking for the job again? I certainly did not. And to be honest, it wasn't the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that Dan Nash resigned. It was sadness, because our board doesn't need an extra opening, any extra challenges. You have enough already. I had to really think about it, pray about it, talk with my family before deciding that I would even apply. But you know, this is still my school system. This is my community, my district. I care about it. We've lived in Hazel Green for 25 years. All 3 of our children went through the Madison County school system, start to finish. They all went on to college successfully. Our last one will graduate in 2 weeks from Bama and stuff. Roll Tide. You know, until I started thinking about, my first thought when I heard Dan had resigned was, who can we get to fill the seat? This is middle of the cycle. This is not good. People are not geared up to do this. I started thinking about the disadvantages of somebody filling it mid-cycle. You know, most people planning to run for a seat. Oh, and let me stop. I sure hope to see the 10 or 12 or 14 people we have applying for this one. I really hope to see you all back in about 2 years when it's not quite so easy. And I mean that. I want to see good candidates back when it's a little harder. But normally, like the folks that will be coming on in November, we have candidates spend months and months, if not a whole year, gearing up, getting ready, reading everything on AASB website, coming to school board meetings, reading everything from the minutes, talking to board members, talking to staff members, learning everything they can to be ready for the campaign and their competitor. And that gives them a huge advantage. Unlike this seat, snap, Dan Nash has resigned. In about 10 days, you need to have your resume in and a cover letter. No fault of you guys. It's the way the law is written. And so 2 weeks after Dan Nash resigns, somebody's going to be named to this job. Wow. Having served 12 years on this board, I am very concerned about us having 2 brand new board members in November and adding a third on Thursday. A third who wouldn't even have the benefit of what you'd learned through the campaign, as limited as it is. And that's on top of having a inexperienced and relatively new superintendent, who's a great guy. That doesn't change that he's fairly new. I remember when we filled two open seats on the board when I served on it the 12 years before. We always asked the candidates, now are you going to run in 2 years when your time is up? Let me go ahead and answer that question for you. Absolutely not. If you select me, I will do the very best job I can for 2 years and 4 months. And I will help you recruit good candidates, including the other 13 or 14 that are here tonight, to run when this seat is up. But I won't be one of them. That will allow the 2 that are coming on new in November, that'll give them 2 years to get up to speed, get as effective as they're going to become before this seat would come open. Thank you to the 4 of you for your willingness to serve. I know better than anybody but you how challenging this job is. And Mr. Anderson, 18 years, I cannot fathom. 12 was long enough, and if I hadn't had 3 years off, I wouldn't have been willing to offer to do it again. But thank you all for your willingness to serve, and thank you for considering me to finish this term. And I'd be glad to answer any questions. But I think my 5 minutes is up anyway, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAdams. Did anyone have any questions for Mr. McAdams? Mr. Tommy Ledbetter?
Thank you. My name is Tommy Ledbetter. I have a hard time getting up and speaking about myself in public, so I'm going to read my statement if that's okay. I graduated from the University of North Alabama in 1971 with a BS degree in education. I completed my master's degree in 1975 from Alabama A&M University in administration and supervision. 1977, I completed master's certification in guidance and counseling. 1978, I completed AA certification in administration and supervision from Alabama A&M, and that was 30 graduate hours above a master's degree. After graduating from UNA, I moved to Madison County in 1972 and began working for the Madison County school system. 1976, I began my administrative career as assistant principal at Hazel Green High School and moved to Meridianville, where I've lived for the past 40 years. I retired from the Madison County school system after 40 and a half years. I was employed as a teacher, a coach, an assistant principal, and a principal of both the K-8 school as well as the 9-12 high school. So I have experience working with students and teachers at every grade level. I served on the board of directors of the Alabama Association of Secondary School Principals for 6 years. I served on their executive committee for 5 years and I served as the president of the Alabama Association of Secondary School Principals for 1 year. I served on the board of directors of the Council for Leaders of Alabama Schools for 8 years. I served on their executive committee for 4 years, and I served as their president for 1 year. I was selected as the Alpha Principal of the Year for the state of Alabama. I was also selected as the Alabama Association of Secondary School Principals of the Year. I've received the Council for Leaders of Alabama Schools Leadership Award, the National Association of Secondary Schools Distinguished Leadership and Service Award, which was the highest award given to any member. 2014, I was inducted in the Alabama Educational Leadership Hall of Fame at Troy State University. I'm one of 2 high school principals who have been inducted there. I served as an ambassador of reform for the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Department of Education for 2 visits to Russia and 1 visit to Uzbekistan. I served with the U.S. Department of Education on their Safe and Drug-Free Schools Advisory Committee. I've been invited to the White House twice, once to speak and present at the White House Conference on Education Reform. The second time was to witness President George Bush sign the Education Reform Act. I believe my educational and employment background, as well as my service to the profession and the students of Madison County, give me a unique perspective to serve on the Madison County Board of Education. I spent 40.5 years as an employee of the Madison County Board of Education, doing everything I could to make Madison County one of, if not the, best school systems in the state. My desire to see Madison County students be well educated and successful did not end when I retired. In closing, I ask that you remember I did qualify 4 years ago to run for the District 1 seat on the Board of Education. I made a hard decision at that time to withdraw based on the advice of my doctor due to the fact that my broken arm was not healing properly. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Ledbetter? Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. Number 9. Ryan Wood.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Wood. My family and I have lived in Hazel Green for the last 20 years. First, I would like to thank Mr. Nash for all of his hard work and love that he has given to our district and wish him the best in the future. I would also like to thank the board members, the superintendent, their staff, the teachers, and everybody that helps take care of our over 25,000 students in the Madison County school system. My wife and I have 2 children that were born and raised in Hazel Green, where we continue to live. I've owned a small business for over 20 years, and I take pride in my work, but I take even more pride taking care of the customers on a personal level. Over this many years, I've been in and out of over 8,000 service calls in and out of people's homes, and I've met some of the most wonderful people in our community. I've also coached many years at the Hazel Green Recreational Ballpark. I've also coached travel baseball. I've also coached AYSO soccer and also sat upon the AYSO board. It has always been my pleasure to coach children and discover their potential as athletes, and most importantly, to build their confidence and character that they will take long after the playing field is over. I, along with the other coaches over the years, realized that our greatest purpose was really to teach our players having integrity and honesty and gaining the respect of their own teammates and also even their opponents was even greater than the final score. Becoming part of this board and a representative to my district will allow me to continue supporting and serving the young people of my community. For the last several years, I've attended many public board meetings and I've read about how our system works. I understand and have read I've also understood how I have still much to learn. I am enthusiastic about the opportunity to work with our board members, our superintendent, our staff, continuing to care for all the children of Madison County. I had already committed to run for this position in 2018, so this early opportunity was unforeseen, but it's greatly appreciated. I believe that there is no greater goal that our officials and staff work to achieve is to empower students through education. We are all very blessed to have the kind of people that are taking care of our kids. As I mentioned to a group of teachers several years ago at a public meeting at Hazel Green High School, y'all must really love our kids because you haven't had a raise in over 6 years and you're still here. Although we laughed a bit about that, it was sadly true. Our educators continue to effectively take pay cuts each year, whereas inflation never does. It goes without saying that there is nothing more important than our kids, and there is no doubt that providing them with a great education is paramount. Education not only provides students with the ability to become financially successful in the workplace, but increases the overall financial health of its community that they live in. In the words of a great civil rights leader, Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful tool a person can use to change the world. I feel that any educational system should constantly strive to better the system to help students achieve excellence. Understandably, it is almost impossible to make everyone happy every time, but ethics, honesty, equity should guide the decisions we make on behalf of our children. I am a firm believer that it is not the mistakes that we make, but it is the ones that we intentionally leave behind that defines our moral compasses. I've come here this evening to offer my continuing support to not only the students, parents, and businesses that support District 1, but to the entire cluster of schools in Madison County. I understand that this can be a difficult job at times, but I am willing to accept all the challenges that it brings. In the past 3 years, I have learned many things about how Madison County system operates. I have read and understood many of the financial procedures and policies, much surrounding the BRAC loan for the new Monrovia School, the parents and the public's access to public records, and I personally know and have met several people here at Central Office and at the State Department. I ask you tonight, as board members of our community, to allow me to help you navigate the challenges and to serve and to strengthen our community. I truly am honored to be considered for this position. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Wood. Mr. Matthew Cleveland?
All right, good evening, members of the board and members of our great community. My name is Matthew Cleveland, and I was born in Huntsville, Alabama, born and raised. I have been a community member of Meridianville for 6 years, and I'm a Hazel Green High School graduate, 2014. I ran varsity track, varsity football, and I am currently a junior at Oakwood University. I major in history with a minor in political science. I have a 3.6 GPA. I am running for this position. I'm applying for this position, I should say, because I feel I can make a difference. I am following the footsteps of my grandfather, the late great E.E. Cleveland, Dr. E.E. Cleveland, educator, author, evangelist, civil rights activist, and friend of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If I was appointed to this position, I would use the qualities my grandfather has instilled in me to better this community and make a difference on this board. My voice is the epitome of the young generation, which is our future. with my young, fresh ideas, I can make a change. In hindsight, I see things now that I'm out of high school that I wish I would have saw while I was in high school, and I would like to make that change and instill that hindsight into our youth as they progress and have a better future. I want to be the voice of all our future generations because that is what counts, and that's what's going to make our world a better place. Being a part of this board, I will use my voice to make ethical decisions as well as being socially responsible in my actions. I like to not only be the voice of the younger generation, of all generations, of all ages. I want the community to know that I will make their voice heard. Every vote that I make will be the voice of the community speaking. I feel I would be a great asset to this community and to this board as I would bring diversity and a younger input that is much needed. This position is a starting point in my journey in changing the world, and to do that, we must start locally, changing the county, and making the city a better place. I would like to make my closing statement by saying that although I am much younger than my counterparts, that is not a weakness. The unique thing about that is we have educators and parents, and I am neither. I'm a student. And in my opinion, that's the most important aspect. How can we have a school board for the students, but not have the input of our students? And the thing that makes me a strong candidate is I was in their shoes not too long ago. So I've seen the good and the bad that comes with the Madison County school system. And I feel that my voice, our voice, will be much needed. I would like to thank you for your time and for giving me this opportunity. And is there any questions I'm sure you might have for me? I'm not sure how qualified you think I am, but I have plans that I plan to intact to make this a better school system. Would you like to ask me about those plans?
You have 1 minute left if you'd like to share.
1
those
minute?
with us at this time.
One thing that I have been in Huntsville City Schools and Madison County. Madison County is much better. I'm not saying that just because I'm here. Hazel Green High School is an amazing school, and they have programs implemented getting you ready for the real world in college. My senior year, I was in a nursing internship, and I worked in the hospital. I worked around Hazel Green, veterinarian offices, TOC, different things like that. And that kind of stuff gets you ready. It helps our kids get scholarships and helps fund, their college, which isn't cheap, College debt is a real thing, and it's a problem. And ethical training, our kids need to know about ethics. When you get in the real world, if you don't have ethics, no one's going to hire you. They're not going to want to work with you. So those are two issues that I think we should look at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleveland. Debbie Esslinger?
Good evening. I'm Debbie Esslinger. I live in Hazel Green. In fact, I live backed up to Hazel Green High School softball field, so I'm almost in the school. I am an educator by profession, but my professional and formal education began with 10 years in the Dallas, Texas Independent School District, and it has been bookended with teaching for Columbia State Community College up in Tennessee. I have worked for the last 35 years in nonprofits, most of them education related. A lot of that has been the housing authorities in Huntsville, in Tuscaloosa, and in Athens. But Madison County schools have always had a great reputation reputation for providing quality education by knowledgeable and caring faculty and staff. My own daughter attended Hazel Green Elementary and Middle School before transferring to Lee High School in Huntsville for the Creative Writing Magnet program that they offer. She's now in New York, the owner of her own business, and working on her third master's, an MBA at NYU. I was in the schools as she grew up, and I can attest to the amount of time and attention that are devoted to our children. But just as sure as I am that Allie received a wonderful education, I am certain that we, Madison County citizenry, must ensure the same level of education continues now and in the future. We must offer the coursework needed to ready our students to be equal to all others, or even better prepared when they graduate. I would hope that our district would offer programs for everyone so that they don't have to leave the district to obtain the education they need and desire. Madison County is a diverse community in most every area one could imagine. I believe education is our best offense against discrimination, whether that comes from race, gender, family composition, or socioeconomic circumstances. This offense must begin at the pre-K and kindergarten levels and continue through elementary, middle, and high schools. We must give every student the opportunity to learn, to either get a good job right out of high school or to continue on to college and to become a contributing member of society. As an educator, I know that that is often much easier to say than to do. That's why the Madison County Board of Education must work to provide a safe and welcoming environment for children and young people to explore their strengths and passions. Faculty and staff also need to feel confident and secure in their professional surroundings. Parents should be encouraged to be a part of their children's academic endeavors, and we must ensure that students have the chance to experiment and find their true niche by offering academic clubs, visual and performing arts, and sports. We, as the adults, must create an environment of personal discovery and individual success. The students of today will be the workforce and civic community of tomorrow. We must set our values high to ensure that Madison County can continue to be the thriving area it is today. Madison County is growing by leaps and bounds. The Board of Education should look at the future as well as the present, planning accordingly. I understand limited budgets, but I also understand the need to prioritize within those budgets to provide the best educations for our students. I would enjoy working with the rest of the school board and the Madison County school staff to set goals that would benefit the student population and ensure quality faculty and staff are retained to help meet those goals. At this point in my career, I feel my education, my experience, expertise, and enthusiasm can best be utilized in a position of this caliber. My purpose in life is to be a voice for instilling dreams in others. I would like to be a part of the dreams of the families in Madison County by representing District 1 on the Madison County School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buchanan. That was number 4. Oh, did I go out of order? Well, in that case, Mr. Nathan, 3. Because I don't know 3 from 4.
Thank you, Board, for the space and time to be here this evening. I appreciate your time to discuss the District 1 vacancy. About me, I'm 35 years old. I'm married with 2 kids. Both my kids attend Madison County schools. One attends Greenville Middle School. One will attend Morris Mill Intermediate. My wife also works for the Madison County School District. I currently work as a technology director for the Community Action Partnership in North Alabama, a nonprofit in Decatur, Alabama. Prior to going there, I worked in the Madison County School District. I worked in the Computer Services Department. I worked along with a lot of teachers, administrators. Some of you all redrawing the district lines years ago. I'm sure that was fun. So I recall having great experiences and working with a lot of you to see change in this district. Well, I applied. I want to serve my community. I I want to be an inspiration to my boys. I want to encourage the youth in our schools to succeed. I want to be an advocate for the board. I want to go out and talk to other people in my community, tell them what's going on, explain, talk to my administrators, talk to the administrators, see what they need, see what we can do to make our system better. I want to be an effective board member. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to challenge the process. I don't know a lot about the board, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to go further. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to continue to ask questions. If chosen, I'll take this responsibility very seriously. I don't take it lightly. We have a board at my organization comprised of 18 members, public sector, private sector. We have some community members. And we always tell our board members to really take this seriously. I will take this job seriously. The board plays a critical role in the majority of decisions made by the school district. I will quickly acclimate myself with board governance documents so I can clearly understand my responsibilities. I reviewed the School Board Governance and Improvement Act, and I additionally look forward to board trainings. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to try to find out. My desire is to lead this district to another level for our kids. For us, our kids have to succeed. As a board, we have a responsibility to see them succeed. Thank you again for my consideration. Have a good one. Thank you.
Mr. Curry, do you have any community involvement experience?
In my organization, with Community Action, we do some community events. We coordinate with Decatur Youth Services. We have several things that we do with the local Morgan County community. We have a NeighborWorks event every year where we designate a community. We come into a community, we revitalize that area. So that means home improvements. We coordinate with Lowe's, Home Depot, different organizations to bring all those resources together to help bring change in those communities.
Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Curry? Thank you. Mr. Prim. Give me just a second, Mr. Prim.
Good evening. I read about the Board of Education District 1 opening on Madison County Schools website and decided it was time to make a change. I have a lifelong passion for education, and I come from a family of educators who have instilled in me the value of strong school systems. My mother served as assistant superintendent of Opelika City Schools for over a decade. My brother has served as a superintendent for the last decade, and most recently serving the city of Bessemer. My uncle served as a principal and a school board president in Wilcox County. And I have two aunts that taught schools for their entire careers. And last but not least, she's not here, but I have to say it, my wife has taught school for over 17 years. So education runs in my veins. My desire to serve the community has grown over the years, and contributing as a member of the school board will provide an opportunity to serve. These are critical times for public education, especially with all the challenges that we're faced with. I would admit this board and its members has done an admirable job. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't attempt to fill a void in this board's lack of cultural diversity. During these difficult times, as we navigate through the ever-increasing racial tensions brewing throughout America, I feel there's an even greater need for more inclusion, consensus building, and unity. And this can only be accomplished through great will, fortitude, and strength. We will need the will to do and stand for what's right and just, fortitude to be innovative, courageous and equitable, and the strength to be trailblazers ushering in new eras of embracing our differences and building on our shared commonalities. Because this county is built on our differences. As someone stated earlier, we have a diverse county, socioeconomically, culturally, and everything else. But it is that melting pot that makes Madison County one of the best places to live, not only in the state, but in this country, and I firmly believe that. So I fully appreciate that the children are our ultimate focus. As a father, I have a daughter in the school system and a son who will begin kindergarten next year. It is imperative for me to help foster and support this system that will nurture our kids and create opportunities to live fulfilling lives. Similarly, as a small business owner, I also understand the value of a viable workforce. Learning, building strategic partnerships, maintaining strong ethical standards, and most importantly, standing steadfast on my morals and principles in regards to decision making is one of the key elements that I will bring to the table. We have a lot of challenges. As someone said earlier, we have new leadership, and sometimes change is not bad. We can't always keep looking in the past because we have to start walking towards the future. So at some point in time, people, I'm glad everyone that came out, need to step up to the plate, like this young man that wants to bring innovative new ideas for his generation. From this lady that's coming with the wealth of experience, and all the other people and candidates that have all this experience. It is great to know that we have people that are willing to give their time. He asked a question to the guy on camera and said, this is a thankless position. Why would you want to do it? But at the end of the day, I think everybody in here, including myself, the simple answer is we just want to make a difference. And our kids deserve that. We need to close the gap on achievement scores. We need to work towards having equitable value systems for everyone involved. And I can go on and on and on, so I won't get on my soapbox right now. So I'll end this right now. Does anyone have any questions? Well, I want to thank you all for this opportunity. As you all can see, I'm very passionate, not only about our kids, but about our community and serving as a whole. Thank you.
Your bowl should be empty. That's all the presenters that we have for this evening. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming tonight. Those of you who weren't presenting, thank you for coming and being involved and giving us an opportunity to also let you view the people who have applied for the District 1 vacancy. To those of you who have presented, thank you again. I know it takes a great deal of courage and we appreciate your time. At this point, we will take a motion to move into executive session in order to tabulate the scores, and then we'll notify those who are in the narrowed pool by tomorrow morning.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. When we get back, we will not make any announcements other than a motion to adjourn. Y'all are welcome to stay for that. It's very